Hey guys, Edison John Deers here. I finally got my PWCC November stuff in. Like, even though I know I did a video talking about like when I purchased this stuff, what it was, but I did actually just want to do another video about me getting it in because there's a couple reasons for that. Part of it too is this lets me actually inspect the cards in person. One of the things that influenced my purchasing when I bid on these was according from what I could see in the scans, the cards looked nice. A lot of these cards are EX Delta species stuff, and that era has pretty poor centering. So in my opinion, what happened was a lot of the 8 and 8.5s were nice looking cards, but they got brought down because of that bad centering. So now I can just see them in hand, and I'll kind of just tell if that is the case. You've probably seen this card if you've checked my my eBay or my website, because I've had this up for a while. I've posted it on Instagram too, but I finally pulled it from the PWCC vault. It is my Shining Gyarados from Neo 3 in a Mint 9. Just really, really beautiful card. And, you know, if the general consensus is that the Japanese cards are much rarer than the English variants for the Shinings. These cards just present super nice in Japanese, and this is a pretty solid grade. And then the other card, this was one that I picked up from, I think, October, the October block. This is the only card I picked up because this was like the only card that I realized. In the October block, I didn't realize you had to actually bid on stuff beforehand, so I just didn't. And this was the only card that I actually did put a bid on beforehand. And it is this, wow, it just says Pokemon EX. That's really weird. It's a Gardevoir Delta Species EX. Oh, not even EX, I'm so sorry. It's a Gardevoir Delta species, but it's signed, and it has the Arita. It's signed by Arita. It has the Japanese and English signature on it. The artwork is obviously done by him. You can see it right there. But I picked this up for, I think, around 230. I think that's really fair. Considering that it's already graded and encapsulated, I just think this card looks really nice. And there's a lot of cards that Arita does sign often. And the typical cards you'll see signed by him are base set Charizard or Evolutions Charizard, the base set starters. It's really like a lot of the base set arts that you'll see signed by him. So this was just a really unique card to get signed in. I love Delta Species stuff, and that's cool that I got Delta Species in October. In November, I got even more Delta Species. The back of the cards have the label from PWCC saying what they are. Yeah, but like looking at these cards in person, they are essentially mint cards. These cards look really perfect to me. But this got an 8.5, Vaporeon, Delta Species. The Vaporeon, the evolutions, those are really curious because one of the card shops, even like this Armaldo, I just remember I purchased a copy of this last week, raw, in a mint condition. I think I paid like $10 for it raw. But I'm pretty sure for the graded 8.5, I paid 15 or 16, something along those lines. Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, one of the card shops that I typically buy from in Japan, well, I buy a lot of my mid-era stuff. I buy a lot of singles from them. Like, I've been tracking their prices for Delta Species, and to my knowledge, like, the Evolution Delta Species at that store are $90 each. You know, like 9,000 yen each. And, you know, you could pick up, this is obviously conjecture, but I would consider, not really conjecture, you could crack out a lot of these cards and they would be able to be buy listed to those stores, I think, for what I paid. They look so nice in person. I think, like, this one got really just, like, this one's just rough. I paid $15 for this, but I think this one just got hurt because how off-center it is, left to right. Oh, actually, I'm going to start a duplicate pile. This one's so nice, but this one as well. But this one might be a little bit more deserving. You see right there, there's like a little bit of a dent on it. So 8.5 is probably pretty fair. If the rest of the card is mint, stock it there. This is just exciting to see because I don't have a CGC submission coming back for a while. Like, I don't have a CGC submission coming back until probably late January next year, maybe mid-January. Just because, I don't know, I expect them to actually slow down in this upcoming month. Oh, this Flareon is so good. I think I've rationalized to myself that Flareon is probably my favorite evolution. I don't know. I've just been buying a bunch of Flareon cards recently, and I've just really appreciated how nice the Pokemon looks. I'll put this one there because it's first edition. These are all first edition. Yeah. And sorry, I'm getting off topic. What was I saying? I bought the Flareon. Oh no, yeah. So I don't think I'm gonna get a CGC submission back for a while of my own cards graded for quite a bit. Like at least I think I'm around a month at this point, because with the holiday season and people taking off for work and stuff, I mean it's completely understandable that there's a slowdown with grading in this month for how many holidays there are, and the fact that we had Thanksgiving going into this Hanukkah or whatever. There's a lot of winter holidays, but because of that, like this kind of helps me, because I did want to add new inventory to the store and to eBay, and because I'm not getting back my own cards graded, if I pretty much picked up all this stuff, which I'm more or less classifying as inventory, for around what I would have paid for it raw and to get graded myself. So this is really just like an inventory injection. This one seems pretty fair. It's off center, and then right there you could see a little bit of a nick. So yeah, that's not too bad to me. Just considering like, oh, this is modern. I think it's gonna be mixed in. This stuff is very hard to pull now. These packs are not easy to come by. And there's genuine rarity in the hollows from Delta species. They just look nice. There's so many factors that are going for this. This one's quite OC too. I think this one definitely got hurt by how OC it is top to bottom. Yeah, I just like this stuff so much. I mean, that's all I can really say. And when I've talked about this with other people recently, that's kind of what I've just come down to is I like the card itself a lot. So, at the end of it all, worst comes to worst, I get left with cards that I like. This one's really nice. Yeah, this one definitely got killed for how OC it is from top down. But there are like, oh no, that's like dust. Yeah, like a lot of these cards when I'm looking at them in person, they are very nice looking cards. I hate to throw this around, but like these are probably closer to PSA 9s, PSA, like the 8.5s I should say, closer to PSA 9s to PSA 10s. Even the 8s are probably pretty close to there. In terms of condition, these are, I would say these are 9+ in condition, but that centering grade is probably bringing the overall grade quite low on a lot of these. And that was something that I had. Oh, look at that. That's really scratched on the surface. Wow. I've heard people mention that a lot of their PWCC purchases come incredibly scratched. And for a majority of the stuff that I've opened so far and like gone through, that was not the case. But yeah, that Nidoking definitely will need to be buffed out if I do plan on scanning it. So we have the first edition and then the unlimited. And I did a little bit more research into it. Yeah, the unlimited is much rarer for a lot of this stuff. I think I had mentioned that I believe the unlimited is rarer for this, but it definitely just seems to be the case. Even this card's really off center. Look at that, from left to right. It's the World Championship card. This was probably the worst purchase I made in the block, specifically because I saw a 9 sell for less than what I paid for this 8.5. But I was like, oh, Mew EX, this is a topical card because it's, they just got reprinted. Maybe more people will look into it. And this one was cool, just this Noivern alt art. I pretty much paid like slightly more, maybe like $2 more than this card raw, but I already got it graded. It's already graded, I should say. So I thought that was fair. It's just a really nice Arita artwork. And same thing for this one. As I mentioned, these were pretty much at raw prices. And like, there's value there if you want to just pick up cards. Like for me, this was all about picking up cards that I would want anyway, that I don't want to have to spend the money to get graded. And my cost into these is lower than if I could replicate them for. But I know for some people, I was talking to Sean from Squeaked Game World about this. He had purchased some stuff, some English cards from this PWCC block that were selling for less than the raw buy it now price. And there's opportunity there. And I think that opportunity gets smaller and smaller every block. Because I think people have been consistently disappointed with the quality of service. With the actual realized prices, I should say. I think PWCC service is still good. Their scanning is good. Their vault service is great. But I think the auction is kind of scaring some people off. So I just expect kind of a dry out. So I'm looking at these cards too. There's like a minor scratching on the back. I mean, I think that's quite fair overall for an 8. I don't know. Overall, these cards just present really nice for the grade. But the issue then is, just because I think they present nice for the grade doesn't mean they should be valued at the... not even valued at the grade, but that there's even value there. Like, I don't know. This Credilli was, I think, $20. I think that Credilli was less than $20. It would cost me over half that to grade it myself. Probably cost me more than half that to buy it raw. And there's no guarantee that a raw copy I buy grades a 9. And there's just a lot of factors going against these. Like, the set is pretty hard to find mint. Like, Delta's features are pretty hard to find mint. They're typically played. The bad centering and then the cost of grading makes it hard to get these cards at any price point similar to this. But just because, like, I'm excited for what I paid, and I think what I paid was a good price, that might not necessarily mean that there's actually any margin here. I'm trying to articulate that, but I'm just not getting the words out well. Just because I think this stuff was good doesn't mean that other people will value it more than I paid for it. But who knows? It's still cool stuff to unbox. And this is kind of what I was saying before when I mentioned I'm not getting a CGC submission back. One of my favorite things is just opening up boxes, opening up returns, looking at the cards for the first time in person in the nice slabs, kind of looking at the condition and trying to see if I think it's fair. These are really cool. These 9.5s are cool. Just for how hard they were to get. So what was I saying? Yeah, I just enjoy opening up products like that. Like getting products like this, just being able to see them in person. And they feel cool and having them nice encapsulated in a slab. But this kind of just takes the place of a typical return. So I get the have the fun of opening up these cards, but not have to put any time in to grade them myself. Look at that. I think this one got 8 for 2 reasons. It's pretty off center. It's like shifted to this bottom left corner. And then like a little dent right there. But I mean, the centering, there's nothing they could do about that if you're buying this card raw. Because the centering is, that has nothing to do with the condition of the card from like a card shop standpoint. And then that little dent right there, I think that dent still goes through if you purchase it as a near mint card from a card shop. Or even on TCG Player. I've seen much worse cards sold on TCG Player as near mint. Like for that to not be able to slip by. I think that would just slip by under that condition. Okay, so I think 8s are pretty fair, if not a little harsh. But, I mean, it's one of those things where even if it feels harsh, it just means that I was able to get a good deal. This one was just objectively a good deal. This Mew from EX Legend Maker was, I think, $55 in an 8.5. It's quite nice, actually. It just seems to be the plague with a lot of English cards. They just get 8.5s because of... Actually, I don't have a real reason why they get 8.5s. But this card was selling for like 100 plus on eBay. And I think I paid 55 PWCC. I'm the star and a 9. This card's gonna look nice. And what I'm really... I don't know if this is like a... I don't want to say this is a nerdy thing. But if this is like a weird thing that only I'm really into. But I enjoy scanning all my cards. Pretty much everything that I own, I have a scan of. And I think these would look so nice in the scanner that I have once I scan them. Just because, like, the whole thing has holo on it. And it's really dynamic artwork. And there's not holo in every place on the card. It's like the Pokemon are highlighted, I believe. Yeah, so the Pokemon, like this Omnistar. Oh, wow, this one's really scratched up too. I don't think I realized that. But like the background is matted, but the Pokemon will stand out when you actually scan it. And Maldo, an 8.5. But yeah, that was it. That was just me. I just kind of wanted to show the cards off in person as I was going through them. Because I was already going to unbox this stuff anyway, so I thought I might as well just show them on video. Kind of give a couple of the things that talk about a couple of things I've been thinking about recently. If you saw any cards that you were interested in or you like, don't forget, they are available on collectibles.com or my eBay, or you can just feel free to reach out to me on social media. But have a nice one, and thanks for watching.